Hey, good morning, East Texas. Thanks so much for joining us for this CBS 19 Plus live stream. Right now, we're tracking storms that are moving directly into East Texas. They are coming in a bit ahead of schedule, so I hope that you have all your rain gear ready to go. Right now, there are some showers and thunderstorms moving through parts of deep East Texas, so let me just get a check on what we're seeing out there right now. If you take a closer look at your screen, you can see all of that lightning that's building through parts of deep East Texas. Right now, the Lufkin area is getting pretty loud, as well as everything near Angelina County. St. Augustine County experiencing quite a few strikes of lightning as well. Now I'm watching this cell right here that's moving through Angelina County right now. It's near Zavala, heading into St. Augustine. Let's get a check of the lightning on what's happened in the past 15 minutes. Now everything in this box is cloud to ground lightning. So about 150, between 100 to 150 lightning strikes of the past 15 minutes or so. So it is a very healthy storm. It's an electric storm, to say that. A little bit off to our west toward Grapeland into Alto. Again, another cell that I'm tracking that's moving up to the north. That one still about 150 lightning strikes. So you're seeing about the same intensity in terms of electricity that's moving through these. But take a look. These are really beginning to build and just fly up to the east, northeast. Now, these are bringing lots of hail. That's going to be our main concern out of these, especially that's what the National Weather Service has been saying. A few gusty winds. A lot of the wind, though, with this is going to be around 35 to 40 miles per hour. So we're staying just below that limit to get a severe thunderstorm warning. To see a severe thunderstorm warning, wind gusts need to be at about 60 miles per hour, 58 to be exact. But we are staying just below that. However, you do get caught in one of these storms, make sure that you are staying inside. If you are outside and you hear thunder, you can get struck by lightning. So make sure that you are staying indoors as the storm passes you by, and be prepared to pivot any outdoor plans. This is all part of a little boundary that's moving through. It's stretching off to the Dallas area, moving through Palestine right now into Lufkin, headed toward Nacogdoches, and it does go all the way back out towards Sabine County. As this continues to roll through, this will help spark these showers and thunderstorms through the rest of the afternoon. Now, there is a much larger system off to our west into the Waco area, and this does stretch back off to the west beyond that. We're having a hard time seeing some of it just because of the radar data that's available at the moment. I'm going to turn on an extra layer here. This one is national radar, so we can see a bit better. It extends back off to parts of west and central Texas. And now this is really the only big system that we're tracking. It's this thunderstorm complex that's coming through, lifting some warmer air into our area. That's what you're seeing, that little strip of thunderstorms that is stretching from the main part of the storm system back into our area. A few more are reaching off toward the south there as well. But let's just focus on the ones that are in our area here. Once again, gusty winds are possible out of this, but really it's going to be hail. Just if you look kind of how it's shaped, it is very tall, very isolated storms. And that is very conducive to hail formations. Now, when we see it, I get a lot of questions. A lot of times during the summer, I get asked, how does hail form? Why do we have all this hail forming when it's so warm outside? And it is warm. And you would think that the warmth would melt the ice. Well, it does, but it also gives us the extra energy we need in order to get a storm intense enough and tall enough to form some sort of hailstone that's a bit bigger. That way it doesn't entirely melt by the time it reaches the ground. So these storms right now are on the taller end, which means that they are more conducive to forming some sort of hail. We'll likely see a hailcorn form, especially in this little thunderstorm, which is moving into parts of Cherokee County at the moment. It's just to the east of Crockett, headed toward Alto. So Alto, if you're outside, I'd recommend moving your vehicle under cover. There likely will be some hailstones headed your way very shortly. Now, this is all moving rather slowly. We're looking between 10 to 20 miles per hour for how quickly the storm itself is moving in your direction. So let me just get a check of that front edge. Now, not all of us in this storm system are going to see rain because it is very, very scattered. But let me just give you a very broad scale timeline. Alto, you should start to see that within the next 10, 15 minutes or so. Nacogdoches a little after 11. Jacksonville, you might see some rain closer to 11:20, 11:30. So very much just a broad scale estimate there, but that is giving you a timeline. That way you can stay inside and, of course, make sure that you are staying out of all of the rain. Now, we are tracking quite a bit of thunderstorm energy. This is what's known as CAPE, convectively available potential energy. And basically what we're looking at here is just the heat of the day that gets in here, and that gives us the extra energy that we need to get these storms going. So you need multiple ways to form a thunderstorm. This is one of the ingredients that we need in there. And where you're seeing the red, that's where there's plenty of thunderstorm energy. Not where there are thunderstorms yet, but where we have the fuel. So if you think about it like gasoline. And as these storms roll through, they're going to pick up on all of this red energy. And that's why we could get potentially a strong to severe storm through the rest of the afternoon. Now, a lot of this, I think, is going to stay just below that severe limit. So about 35 to maybe 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Again, remember, you need 60 in order to see some sort of severe thunderstorm. However, we are still tracking a level 1 risk of severe weather, mainly for hail, mainly for gusty winds. That's for areas off to our south, kind of cutting through and stopping right around Nacogdoches. Right now, not a level 2 in our area, just a level 1. And for areas up along and north of I-20, we're not seeing any risk of severe weather. Big things to watch out for today. Hail and, of course, gusty wind. You may see a bit of debris that may be blown into the roadways. It will not be anywhere near as intense as the storms that rolled through early yesterday morning before sunrise, but it could create a bit of damage just because we have so many compromised trees and tree branches after yesterday's storm. So I'd just make sure that you are staying aware and, of course, staying vigilant as you hit the roadways. Here's future skycast. A lot of this is going to continue to bubble up and try to make it along I-20, but it is set to kind of fall apart before it reaches areas in the I-20 corridor. Now, we could see some rain, but a lot of that severe storm energy is just stuck out to the south, and it's not set to make it to areas up north. Still, though, on and off rain is possible through the rest of the day, so make sure that you have your umbrella handy. Now, we are tracking a low-end risk of flooding. Right now, a level 1 out of 4 risk. That's for everything that's highlighted in blue. That's in deep East Texas, a level 2 setting off to our west. Now, a lot of this is not for the heavy rain that's coming through today, but because the ground is just so saturated after all of the rain that we saw yesterday. This is a look at some of our rain gauge data from around the community. Hallsville definitely came up near the top with the most amount of rainfall. Over 4 inches of rain were recorded in that area. Just nearby in Longview, almost 4 inches, about 3 3/4 inches there. These are just a few cities that we've selected from around the area. It's a very soggy morning yesterday. We did have a chance to dry out and get some of that residual rainfall to evaporate, but still we are tracking a very soggy ground, so be prepared that there could be potentially some pockets of rain out there as you're coming home and some patchy puddles. Now, I'm getting pictures from some of our viewers from around the area of the damage of the storms that came through yesterday. This is a picture from Janet Best of break time in Tatum. That window was blown in due to the gusty winds that came through. This is a convenience store / gas station. You can see that window right now. That was blown right into the storm due to those gusty winds. Also, another picture from Vonna Hill. This is in Tatum, where a tree, you can see how thick that tree is right at the end of the road where that was blown into the street. We've seen a lot of reports of trees down in the area, even some pretty massive ones like the ones that you've seen here. So just make sure that you are staying aware, especially as we have gusty winds coming through and impacting these already compromised trees. Just make sure that you're staying aware for the next several days. Now, I'm taking you outside in Nacogdoches where we're not seeing rain yet, but we're having a very scary looking sky out there. It looks pretty gloomy. Again, no rain just yet. The clouds are barely moving, so we're not necessarily tracking gusty winds down there just yet, but it is a very gloomy Tuesday morning. Temperatures right now, though, are on the warmer end. We're warming up into the mid-80s at this point, and I think we could squeeze a few more degrees out of that. We're set to make it into the upper 80s around Tyler, 88 in Long Longview. Same with the I-20 corridor. Deep East Texas, I think that you'll stay a bit cooler. That's because we have the showers and thunderstorms moving in. The rain is going to cool the air, kind of capping things in the 80s, maybe a few 70s in Jacksonville. This Palestine number in the 60s, I think that that is a hole in our data there. I'm not confident in that one, but the rest of them, I feel pretty good about it. It's going to be somewhere in the 70s and 80s. Tonight, things really begin to even out. We're dropping down into the 60s and 70s, 70 in Tyler and Longview, 69 in Gilmer, and then 68 if you're in Mineola. Some passing clouds overnight, maybe a spot of rain here and there, but we are set to stay dry. Hey, happening tonight, something cool. The strawberry moon is rising. It will be our full moon for the month of June. Now it will officially reach peak fullness right around 3 a.m. here in East Texas, but you'll be able to see it all through the evening. And hey, if you look out tomorrow, it'll still appear full as well. Now, it's known as the strawberry moon. It's not necessarily going to be the color of a strawberry, but due to its placement in the sky, there's a chance that it has a very slight tint of pink to it. It'll be very low across the horizon, so if you happen to snap a picture of it, we would love to send it and feature it here on air on CBS 19. You can send it to our email, weather@cbs19.tv. All right, now if you're going to photograph the moon or just look at the moon in general, clear skies for the majority of the evening, but the closer we get to sunrise, the more clouds that we'll see. And that's going to pave the way for some rain chances to come in on and off through the Wednesday morning hours, but by Wednesday afternoon, this is going to organize itself a little bit more. I suspect we'll see plenty of heavy downpours. There's a chance for lots of lightning. Gusty winds and hail are also a possibility as well. In fact, they are likely. So just be prepared for that. That's going to lift off. We have a chance to dry out Wednesday afternoon. But guess what? Thursday, we're going to do it again. We have a little boundary that's going to come through. I suspect we'll see some gusty winds out of this. There was some weather data that I was looking at that suggested that we may have very strong winds again, but that was just one weather model, so we'll continue to monitor it for you. In the meantime, I would say just generally gusty winds, some downpours, hail. All of that is what we're tracking as we head into Thursday, and then just some residual thunderstorms as we head into Thursday afternoon. A chance to dry out overnight, but then the storms are back in the forecast on Friday. Here's the next 3 days, though. Today, that level 1 risk is sitting off to our south, so that's going to be deep East Texas. Wednesday, this comes through and clips our southwesternmost cities and counties in Jacksonville, Palestine, Crockett, Nacogdoches, and Lufkin, as well as areas off to the southeast. It does not include anything along I-20. That's for Wednesday. Thursday, that level 1 risk climbs up just a little bit. It comes and just stops around I-20. Tyler is included in it. Longview is not, but all of Deep East Texas is under that level 1 risk for Thursday. That's because we'll just see a bit more widespread gusty winds and hail, so make sure that you are staying weather aware. Lots of rain over the next 7 days. You're going to make sure, or you'll want to make sure that you have your umbrella and of course your rain gear, because look at all of that rain. A 40% shot today, and that is climbing to a 60% chance on Thursday and on Friday. There's a chance we see a little bit of a dry up, but still rain chances only drop to a 30% chance on Sunday and on Monday. What's happening here? We have a low pressure system that's swinging through, and it's going to get stuck across our area. That means that we'll see rain chances in the forecast for the next several days. Low pressure spins the air in such a way that it promotes storms. So we'll see lots of these on and off thunderstorms until eventually this clears out of here as we head into the beginning of next week. In the meantime, though, plenty of rainfall. You can match your area to the corresponding color table over here on the left. I'll move out of the way so you can see it a little bit better. But for areas off to our west, so we're looking at the Waco area, the Mejia area, 4 to 5 inches of rain are possible over the next 7 days. So flooding is a real concern. But remember, this is 7 days. It's not coming down all at once, so that will make things just a little bit better. The I-20 corridor, I should say, is looking at between 2 to maybe 4 inches of rain. Closer to 3.5 for some areas. Slightly drier the farther east you go into Louisiana, but still it is set to be a bit of a soggy week. But check out this stripe of that oranges and red color that you're seeing stretch across a good chunk of Texas. That's kind of the path that we're seeing a lot of this low pressure system take, and where we're going to see a lot of these storms move. That's why we're just seeing so much rain in that area. Remember to never drive into floodwaters, turn around, don't drown. It is much safer for you to find an alternate route than to drive into floodwaters that you don't know how deep they are. Here's a look at the next 7 days. We'll talk you through the 7 days. We'll get back to radar just to give you a quick check of what's happening right now, and then we'll come back to our 7-day to close things out here in a few minutes. Otherwise, we're looking at the 80s today. Things are going to stay pretty mild thanks to all of the rain that's coming through. The 90s, though, are here early next week, so don't forget we are approaching summer very quickly. That happens on June 21st. And we'll certainly start to feel like it. Here's one final check of your radar. Right now, the storms are currently moving through parts of deep East Texas. That's where we're seeing those bubble up. Some lightning out of those. Hail is a real concern. So again, if you are in Jacksonville, Mount Enterprise, Nacogdoches, Rusk, the city of Rusk, that's where I would recommend going and getting into your or moving your vehicle into a covered area to avoid any hail damage if you're worried about that. If you are currently in one of these storms, so we're talking about Palestine, Zvala, Broadus. If you're in St. Augustine, those storms are going to get to you very quickly. If you are caught in one of these, just make sure you're staying inside until the storm passes you by. This is going to continue to move off to the northeast, so a lot of us will see rain today, but it's going to be on and off and very sporadic. Not all of us will see rain, but a lot of deep East Texas will, and some areas in the I-20 corridor. So just make sure you have your rain gear handy and are ready to pivot any outdoor plans in the event that storms and lightning do cancel those outside activities. Here's your 7-day. Thanks so much for joining us for this CBS 19 Plus live stream. I'll leave you with this and hope you have a fantastic Tuesday and enjoy your rainy, stormy day.